welcome back to this episode of CJ Discusses. Today we'll be discussing Below Deck Sailing Yacht Season 5, Episode 6. This episode starts kind of where it left off last week with Gary and Danny swimming in the little lagoon area where the ship is docked. They just had a night out, and everybody definitely got a little bit too happy and too drunk the night prior, which will play into some things as the episode goes on. What we do see, though, is Danny and Gary have a kiss as they are coming out of the lagoon to end the night. Now, Gary is known for this. He likes his women, and he always seems to find somebody on the crew that he wants to be a little bit more friendly with, and it always causes a lot of issues. And this is going to be probably no different because we know that Danny has a thing for Keith. Now, Danny and Keith did have a conversation at the club the night before where Danny told Keith that she felt that this is more of a one-sided relationship. He likes to keep things professional when he's on charter working, and she likes to flirt with him in a very unprofessional way from his point of view. So it'll be interesting to see how this all falls out. We do see the next morning that Emma and Keith are having a conversation where Keith is kind of disclosing the details of the conversation the night before, and he's not sure where this is all going to go. We also see Cloyce getting up, getting ready for this next charter, and he's looking pretty rough. Now, he is the youngest person on this crew. He's, I believe, 22 or 23, so he's kind of new to the whole drinking scene, and he wants to go out and have a good time. But you need to know your limits, and you need to know if you got to go to work the next day. There's no phoning in sick. You got to just make sure that you are not getting too drunk that you just can't function properly the next day, which for him he did not do, and he is definitely he's hungover and feeling the effects of everything that he had, and is not putting his best foot forward as he is getting ready for this next charter. We go to the preference sheet meeting, and Glenn discloses that this is going to be another quick charter. It's just going to be another basically overnighter, and there's 8 people coming on board, and they're all dentists. Nothing really big about this except they want a seafood dinner followed by a blue and white party. So it's looking like it's going to be a pretty easy charter for Cloyce as well as everybody else on deck. We do see Gary pull Daisy aside where he reveals that he kissed Danny. And Daisy's pretty pissed at this point because she knows how this is going to play out, and she tells him that he's being very self-destructive, and what he does provides a toxic environment for everybody else on the ship. And she's absolutely right, because we've seen this play out in the previous seasons. So she's kind of tired of his BS at this point, and tells him that he needs to grow up. He is 11 years older than Danny, so kind of like, what are you doing at this point? You need to realize that at some point you're in your mid-30s, and you need to kind of start taking things a little bit more seriously in what you're doing. You're not, footloose and fancy free in your mid-20s anymore, where this is a little bit more acceptable. We do see the primary charter guests pull Daisy aside and reveal that 2 of the guests that they brought along had just gotten engaged, so they kind of want to celebrate that a little bit. He wants to do kind of like a congratulatory toast prior to dinner. It says that he wants dinner to be at 10 o'clock that evening. So that is a little bit later than what they were planning on, but it's not that big a deal. Plenty of time to let Cloyce know what's happening, as well as that this is a little bit more special than what they had originally thought. Meanwhile, you see Danny talking to pretty much everybody. She's told Emma that she kissed Gary, and now she's telling Diana that she's kissed Gary. So it's going to definitely get around because just too many people are starting to know at this point that Danny kissed Gary. So we'll have to see how this blows up at some point. As they're setting up for the party, though, we see Danny flirting with Keith. And this is really making Diana mad because Diana feels, and I kind of agree with her, that Danny's not taking the job seriously. She's just there to have a good time. And Diana, is feeling like she's having to pull a lot of extra weight in order to cover for Danny and her lack of prioritizing skills and doing things kind of in a timely manner. A lot like what Emma's doing, although Emma's not flirting with everything in pants. She just seems to be a little bit more like all over the place. Maybe she has ADHD or something. She just can't seem to concentrate on the task and stick with the task or know what her next set of tasks are. She just seems to be somebody that needs to be told all the time what to do and then needs to be micromanaged while she does it to make sure it gets done correctly. And then she gets mad when that happens. She she's not able to step outside of herself and see that she really is kind of the problem, and there's a reason why everybody feels that they need to do this and they don't want to do this, and they're starting to get resentful about it. Now, we did talk about Cloyce and his drinking the night before, and he felt the effects of that all day. And as we get to dinner, you can really see that he is just phoning this dinner in. Now, all of the guests did request a Caesar salad for dinner. So, great, easy. Caesar salad for dinner. As we get to dinner service, he goes ahead and brings it up and says it's a play on Caesar salad, and the guests are like, what does that even mean? Because it just looks like a plain Caesar salad. It's not deconstructed, nothing. It is literally a salad with dressing on a plate. So that kind of sets a bad tone for the beginning of the dinner. He then brings out the seafood bash, and it looks good. But he serves it family style. It's roasted lobster. He's got green beans. So everybody's kind of happy about the choices. What they're not happy about is the fact that it's served family style. The primary charter guest is very upset about this, and she has a valid point. She paid a ton of money for a 5-star meal, and she's not really feeling like she's getting that. And she makes a point of saying something to Daisy that she wants a plated meal from here on out. She does not want to eat family style. So Daisy does go and relay this to Cloyce. And she did relay this to Cloyce prior to dinner as well. And Cloyce blew her off and said that I'm doing a family style dinner. This is, I think I know best. And he wholeheartedly believes that with his 2 years of experience, he knows more than Daisy on what these guests want. And we have seen that a lot with chefs in the past, but they also have more experience. But I do think you have to have a team atmosphere, and you need to be willing to take some of the criticism or suggestions that you're getting from the head stew, because she's out there interacting with the guests and getting that feedback. You can't just discount what she's saying if they're actually telling her this is what they want. From there, Daisy clears the table, and then things just get kind of weird in the kitchen at that point. I don't know if Cloyce is still drunk or if he's just being a straight up dick, but Daisy does tell him that she has cleared the dinner table and they are ready for the dessert, and he is just dicking around essentially with the dinner or with the dessert. He's like, oh, I think this tip for the pastry is too small, and just taking his sweet time to the point that the guests are really tired and they just want to go to bed, and they've already been waiting 15 minutes at this point, where they tell Daisy that they're just going to go to bed. She's able to get them back to the table to get this dessert out, but it's 30 minutes after the fact that this dessert finally comes out. And Cloyce even asks, did you finish clearing the table? And Daisy's like, are you serious right now? So I don't know what is going on with him, but he clearly has the ability to be a great chef, but he doesn't have the maturity or professionalism quite yet to be kind of on his own. He really needs the guidance from Daisy to keep him on point. As we go to the Anchor Watch shift, Emma, of course, is on duty again. That is her shift. And Keith has given her some tips on how she should do some of the tasks that she has for the night. And Emma is not happy about it. She, again, thinks that she's being micromanaged. And she's telling Keith, yeah, I got it. We then watch her in the wheelhouse. And she's kind of doing everything other. She's sipping her coffee, doing something with her toenails, to the point where it is now 7 o'clock in the morning, and she finally realizes as the sun is up what time it is and that she needs to get out there and start doing things. And then, Keith is coming on a shift and sees that she hasn't done anything all night long and has essentially stuck her with all of these tasks. And he's not happy about it and is really getting irritated with it. She also didn't bring in the swim platform, so now you got Keith doing that, and she's literally just standing there watching him bring in these swim platforms, not helping at all, and is kind of in the way, and he just tells her to go to bed and he'll take care of it. And rightfully so, he rats her out to Gary and tells Gary, that she just isn't getting it. And I think at this point, they're probably going to have one more talk with her, but it's probably going to get to the point now where they need to tell Glenn to start looking for another deckhand, because they're about ready to cut bait on her. The guests wake up, they're all seated for breakfast, and Daisy announces that they're all ready for breakfast, and Cloyce decides that, he goes through the whole litany of things that he likes to have on the breakfast table. He likes to have some type of egg dish. He's making scrambled eggs today, some type of meat. He's got sausage again, Danish, pastries, and it's starting to look like a continental breakfast, and Daisy calls it a continental breakfast that you would get at a budget motel. And to be perfectly honest with you, that is what it looks like. And again, he serves it family style, and the primary guest is not happy at all. She wanted a plated breakfast. She does not want to be serving herself. She wants to be served, and she's paying a ton of money for that service, and I get it. So she is not happy, and Daisy has to go to Glenn and tell Glenn that Cloyce has become now a problem. She doesn't think that the charter guest is going to openly complain about it because the food wasn't that bad, but he is not listening to her and taking any constructive criticism. Glenn says maybe it's time for the three of them to sit down, and Daisy says, no, I want to try one more time and have a talk with him, which she does. And he basically tells her that, you know, with his 2 years of experience, he knows better than her with her 11 years of experience what these guests want. So I think we could see where this train is going, and we could see the wreck down on the tracks. But at some point, he's either going to have to bend or he's going to get replaced. So we'll see how that all falls out. Lastly, it looks like Diana's fun meter with Danny is pegged out, and she goes and tells Keith that Danny kissed Gary. And Keith is kind of flabbergasted and, you know, can't really believe what happened, you know, and now he is pretty much done with Danny, but it's going to affect his relationship with Gary. I mean, and Diana also blew up her relationship with Danny. So as Daisy predicted, this has now created a very toxic work environment on the ship, and we're very early into this charter season. We're only about a quarter to a third of the way. So that's a lot of time that they're going to have to be together and, you know, either openly hate each other or figure it out and kind of move on from here. So we'll see how this all shakes out as we move forward. If you like this, please subscribe and click like, and I'll see you later on this week when we discuss the challenge and Survivor. Bye.